today from Buckeye Military Moms, the local chapter of Blue Star Mothers. Hey, Diana.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hanging in there. Nice
Yes,
to see a new face.
right? Seeing a face means everything these days. Hey, and that's
Yes.
true not only for us, for the moms of all the military out there, but for our military members as well, right?
Right.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about Blue Star Mothers and any other needs that you know, military related or otherwise, that might be out there, that those people who are at home and wanting to help, and let them know what they can do. Sound good?
Sounds awesome.
Awesome. Hey, can you tell us a little bit? First of all, I know what Blue Star. I was actually excited when I went and got my pin to put on for this, and I got my name tag, all that. And I thought, well, I know Blue Star moms, but not everybody does. Can you tell people a little bit about what we are?
Well, Blue Star Moms was founded in 1942, 1 month after Pearl Harbor. And it was a bright idea of a couple of Army guys, believe it or not women, but Army guys. And they said, we need help. And we have all of these moms over here that are worried about their husbands and their sons, and a lot of nervous energy. And we need to occupy them so they don't affect morale. And we need to put all that energy to work in ways that are useful, that will help their sons and husbands and fathers. So they put out a call in Flint, Michigan. I know that's, Michigan, Ohio, but it was in Flint, Michigan. And this is back in the day in 1942, where there weren't cell phones and a lot of women didn't drive and yada, yada, yada. And they put a newspaper advertisement that said, anybody interested in forming a group to help our soldiers. They had 1,000 responses, which at that time would have been huge. And so they said, okay, obviously there's interest. We're going to have a meeting. And they had over 400 women show up.
Oh, wow.
Which, again, think about the time period. And there's my landlines going off. Think about the time period. That was pretty good response.
Right.
So that's how Blue Star Mothers was formed. And in fact, what they did is they basically sent packages and volunteered in hospitals, to free up trained personnel to go in other places and to minister the soldiers that were coming back. And so our original uniforms looked a lot like nurses' uniforms, the dress. That's why we have this white hat that I sort of it's called a garrison cap, but I call it the soda jerk cap. But that's why they were white, because they were being clean. Over the years, the organization has changed and adapted, because that's not really the only places we were needed. And so now, Blue Star Mothers of America is actually chartered by Congress. It's a veteran service organization, just like VFW or American Legion. The difference is the membership. In those veteran service organizations, they're veterans. Okay. In our case, we're draftees. Our children drafted us, and by choosing to serve.
Right.
And they serve in all 5 branches. And we're basically the mothers or mother figures. So you could be a stepmom if you raised the son or daughter, or maybe you're even a grandma that raised the child, or a foster mother, etc. And they are members of our organization. And the children are either in active service or are honorably discharged veterans. And so our focus is both on active military and on veterans. And what happens is there are many, many chapters across the country. There's a national organization. In fact, I'm actually the national treasurer this year. And we, each chapter sort of works within the parameters that the national organization sets. And so some chapters are very, very small. There's maybe 6 or 8 ladies. And, they don't do hundreds of boxes. They might do 40 boxes a year. But they're very involved with the local veterans organizations because they're right there, and they can volunteer and serve in a lot of different ways. Other chapters, our chapter in Central Ohio has,
Nice.
I want to say 51, but that number might not be. That's what's in my head. And that includes our members and our associates, because anybody can be an associate of a Blue Star chapter, a friend, just a community member that wants to support the military, whatever. And I think between our associates and our members, we have 51, 52 in our group. And so we're a pretty good group, and we're in a big city. And so our chapter, one of the things that they do, and it just celebrated its 13th birthday this last February, um, is we pack a lot of boxes. Last year we packed 1,495,
Wow.
which is a lot. There was one year where, the Iraq war was going and the Afghan war was fierce, and there was a huge need, and people were really paying attention and donated heavily and stuff. We actually did 2,200. With coronavirus thing going on now, it's sort of hampering our efforts. We don't know what we're going to top out this year, but we're going to give it a go. So we pack the boxes, and they go to deployed military members. Or like last year, we had a couple of emergencies here stateside. One was the Coast Guard worked for 31 days without pay. And for some people in the Coast Guard, it wasn't a stretch. They were older people, they had savings and that kind of stuff. But for the young members who maybe had small children or pregnant wives, it was really a hardship. And so we partnered with another chapter closer to Lake Erie, and we supported Marblehead station, and we basically helped set up a food pantry, and we gathered a lot of $20 gift cards because that's the only kind of cash we could give them. And their XO then handed it out, because these guys and gals were driving to work every day, spending money just to drive to work on their own dime. So we sent them Myers and Kroger's and those kinds of cards that had gas stations, pharmacies, or food, and the XO handed it out to them as they needed. And then in April of last year, we had all of those tornadoes and flooding in Greene and Montgomery County.
Right.
The National Guard the Ohio National Guard put out a plea for, we need help with pantry items that didn't have to be cooked and cleaning supplies. So again, we put out the call to everybody and put together a bunch of boxes to go specifically to them. Plus, we also, if we get food in that for some reason people out of the goodness of their heart donate to us, like bags of rice, somebody out in Afghanistan is not going to be able to cook rice. But we have veterans here that can use it. And so anything that nothing goes to waste. Anything that we can't use goes to the a veterans resource pantry. So
if I just want to make sure everybody has understood that what you said. Well, first of all, backing way up, what I heard is if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So we started this group, but we help not only current active military, but also veterans. We help groups here locally that need it within our own state of military members and VA, but we also help those who are deployed. We ship boxes, we ship many other things as well, which we'll talk about, right?
Correct. Yeah. And we do one other thing that's really neat that unfortunately I don't think we're going to be able to do this year, which is we started 3 years ago an honor corps program.
Yeah.
Everybody's acquainted with all those senior honor awards programs. Some schools actually, again, strong in Michigan, started about 6 years in Michigan. We were on the cusp of it, the front wave here in Ohio in 3 years, an honor corps program for graduating seniors who had officially committed to the military. And we were providing, and we intend to continue the program, red, white, and blue honor cords that they could wear at graduation. And we were included in several schools. They either had military signing nights that were specific for this, or they had it as part of their senior recognition night, we presented those students with those cords because, more than a kid accepting a scholarship or going to play athletic things for a particular university or college, these kids of anybody deserve the recognition. And usually in past, when I graduated, they said, everybody that's going in the military, stand up. Yay, sit down. And that was
Yeah.
it. Or maybe they listed off people's names in their programs. So that's another thing that we're doing. We view that as their active military as part of.
Hey, just so you know, FYI, yesterday I just got the email because I live within the Olentangy schools, and I know we do a lot of military
Right.
in Olentangy and Blue Star moms in our group. They just announced yesterday that there is a date secured. Should they not have the graduation as planned in May, there is a new date for graduation in July. So we might still be able to coordinate that for the Olentangy schools for them to wear the cords on
Oh, that's
graduation.
awesome. That's a good thing to know. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do that, and then we also volunteer at the VA. We do coffee carts and hostess tables, and which sort of segues me into what the VA needs right now.
Yes. Tell us what's needed.
So I'm sure everybody's seen on Facebook or on television or wherever you're getting your news that there are all kinds of seamstresses across the country that are making facial masks. Well, we just got word earlier this week that our Chalmers P. Wiley VA Medical Center out on James Road near the airport would love to have some of those lovely masks. And so we are figuring out a way to gather those and get them over to them. We obviously, you're on your own as finding materials because we can't have like a quilting circle. You have to work on your own. So you would have to gather your materials. But I am putting together instructions and all that kind of stuff, or you can go on YouTube. And there's all kinds of them, but there's pretty easy ways to do them. But since it's going to a medical center, we need ones that can be secured on the head. They don't necessarily have to have the elastic over the ears. They can have ties on them. And if you're not a particularly adept sewer, or maybe you have some arthritis in your fingers like I do, making those little tubes to make the ties might not be the easiest thing. There are other things that you can use. You can use shoelaces if they're clean. And you could even, if you're a seamstress, you'll know what I mean by bias tape, where it's already folded and stuff, and you just run a line of stitching down it, and automatically you've got the tubes. So if you've got that laying around, I don't think at this point, with the medical staff at the VA, because they're not uniformed personnel, I don't think they'd care whether it was purple with pink polka dots, as long as it did the job and it was clean and it was usable. So if there's anybody that wants to do that, Christy's going to put my contact information up, and you can let me know if that's something you're interested in helping out with, and we'll try and get you hooked up.
So anybody near or far that wants to and has the ability to make face masks can message the email right below here, president.oh9@bluestarmothers.us. They can send you an email. You will give them an address to send those to if they need to mail them, and then you will get them to the VA.
Absolutely.
Perfect. How about what other needs do you know of, whether locally or afar, or Blue Star Mothers, our boxes? What is it that we can also be doing?
We're hoping to do a packing on July 11th. We're hoping. Normally in the summer, we do this massive, huge packing, usually do about 1,000 boxes. That takes a lot of people. We're looking to doing a couple smaller packings. I am on my list to do today or tomorrow is to secure dates, though, in July and August and September and October, so that if we lose July because it's still not safe, we're going to have dates to roll over into. So what you could do is, if you're interested in that, you could go to it'll be posted on our website, which is buckeyemilitarymoms.com.
Buckeye Military.
.org.
.org. Right.
So you can watch for that. But in the meantime, we still need to collect things. And I know that a lot of people are hurting right now, but there are some simple things that people collect that
Mhm.
we could do. One is, if you get the newspaper, is saving the crossword puzzles and comics out of them. Just cut those pages out of the paper and, make a stack, and eventually we'll get them from you.
Yeah.
Another is, if you're like, I don't know about anybody else, but my house is pretty darn clean. I figured, well, if I'm going to be stuck here, I might as well do my spring cleaning.
Right.
And so I'm cleaning out closets and, all that kind of stuff. A lot of people have a lot of these unopened travel shampoos and conditioners and little bars of soap and lotion and even the shower cap things, that kind of stuff. If you've got that stuff laying around, you can gather that up and we'll figure out a way to get that from you at some point. And maybe your neighbors would do that. You just throw it in your garage, away from your face, and you could do a little collection of that. I hesitate to ask for food items at this point because we don't know when we're going to be shipping. We already have some stuff that we were going to ship out in April, that the board that serves with me have already said one of us needs to venture in there and look at some of the stuff. And if it's close to the best used by date, it will go to the veterans pantry. It
Sure.
won't just go into the trash.
Hey, Diana, I
Um,
just had a thought. So,
mhm.
in my neighborhood, people have been so generous and kind. And as they're cleaning out their bookshelves or their movies, they're just telling everybody in local Facebook groups, hey, stop by. There's a box at the end of my driveway. Take what you want. Maybe people can, because we don't want interaction and we don't want to
Right.
differ from distancing, but maybe people can put out on their local Facebook pages, I'm collecting things like the toiletries or the newspaper comics, that type of
Uh-huh.
thing. Say there's going to be, on a sunny day like today, there's going to be a box at the end of my driveway all day. If you can collect it and put it in there, that'd
That
be
would be
great.
awesome.
That would be an easy way to still keep social distancing but help others.
Another thing that we could use is current magazines. We
Okay.
don't want magazines that have been down in your basement for 2 years. Okay,
Mhm.
we're talking more current magazines, but we have plenty of magazines for female soldiers,
Okay.
and sailors and Coast Guardsmen and Marines and all that. Um, but either the general ones like Reader's Digest, Time, um, or um, ones that are like men's health is a good
Oh,
one, or automotive magazines, or any of that kind of stuff. We can't take anything religious. We are non-sectarian and non-political, so we can't take anything that's heavily political either. But those would be another thing that people are just going to have around. They don't have to buy. They don't need money, those kinds of things. Needless to say, if there is somebody out there rolling in dough that wants to donate to the cause, they can go to our website and hit the donate button. But I know that everybody's sort of watching their finances right now. So,
that's fair.
we pack all kinds of things. If you're interested in what we pack normally, if you see, maybe you overbought for the siege here we're undergoing, and you eventually want to clear some of that out, we would probably gladly take it. You can just go to our page and there's a thing, what we pack, and it's got a whole list of stuff.
So again, that's at buckeyeMilitaryMoms.org.
.org. Correct. Um, so that's something that people can do. Another thing that we're doing, since we can't ship boxes right now, we are wanting to send big envelopes full of cards and letters and children's drawings. They love children's drawings. And hey, all you people that are learning what homeschooling's all about, having a conversation about people serving in the military is a great lesson, and how they're away from home and the sacrifices that they do. But then you have the kids draw something. Maybe it's a flag, depending on their age, and we'd love for you to put their first name on it and their age. We do not want an address or a last name on it, because in the society we live in, there might be one really evil person that somehow gets a hold of an envelope, and we don't want them to be looking up your kid.
Right.
So, and again, they have to be patriotic or fun. They can't be religious or political.
So
Um,
I know that Diana, we used to like I've connected many times when I worked in Olentangy in the past with teachers, and with
mhm.
Memorial Day in May, a lot of times they would have this as a regular project.
Right.
So any teachers watching, if you want to make that part of your distance learning, but every parent that's at home right now is a stay-at-home
Teacher.
teacher. Yeah. So make this part of your own personal either lesson plan or craft day or whatever the case may be. It's a great time to give back and learn.
So that's something that everybody could do. And and we intend to bundle these up, and we have a whole list. We had like we were going to ship out 400 boxes. Okay. So we have a whole list where we'd love to send each one of those people 2 or 3 pieces of mail. And we'll put a note in saying, we wish this was a box, but given the circumstances, we can't gather to do boxes, so we're doing this so that you're remembered. And we know from the responses that we get from the people that have got boxes, because I'm really amazed, because I'm older. So when my dad was in World War II, I have my mom and dad's letters, their love letters, and I know how their letters crossed in the mail and stuff. Now we get emails like straight from the battlefield sometimes, you know with
Those
with
are gut wrenchingly like, wow.
yeah.
You get
and
those.
and we got one picture in response to our holiday packing, where they had taken rocks, white rocks, and written out happy holidays in the sand, and
Hmm.
then they had made a sand snowman to send back to us.
I
you
know some
know
of the ones I remember seeing was on the Navy ship, and they were like singing to a song. It was
yeah,
completely cool.
yeah. So I mean, these connections are, we feel isolated. Imagine how they feel,
Mhm.
especially because they're in countries that are having COVID too, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Um, so that's an immediate need. I need people to really hop on that, because we want to get these out, you know, by the end of the month.
So if somebody can make one card or 100 cards, both is perfect because we have a need, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect. And
absolutely.
again, if they just contact me through email, I'll
Perfect.
tell them where to
So
send.
we did have a question or a couple questions as far as the names or the addresses and what we're sending them to. I just want to be clear to everybody watching that we get the names or the addresses given to us and that
Right.
it stays with us. We don't
Correct.
distribute that for safety purposes for our military personnel. But that if somebody wants to send a postcard, they give it to us and we'll make sure it gets delivered to a military person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And quite honestly, um, we don't share those lists with anybody
Right.
because of that. It's a security thing. Um, and the DOD doesn't send us a list. These are families that have shared with us, or we have contacts within the Ohio National Guard when they're deploying, where they'll contact us and say, we have a unit going, we want you to ship to them. They're what are called FRGs and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we can't don't call me and say, hey, can I have an address to write to? That you're not going to get it.
Right.
um,
But like you said, right now we have maybe 400. It changes throughout the year. And the names that we have now might actually not, they may no longer be there in July.
right
So we might
now, the
send
thing
them.
is if people want to continue doing this, because
Mhm.
I've always I one of the suggestions I'm going to make to our members this week is that they sit down and they write one thing a day. Take 5 minutes a day to think of a military person, because even if we don't send them now, they will go in boxes, because every box we ship out, we try to have 2 or 3 letters in. And like I said, we've heard more responses back to that's their favorite thing out of the box. Their second favorite thing is Girl Scout cookies. You know, so and we don't even know how that's going to work out this year, because we
Yeah.
normally get them in April. So I don't know. But there's that. Now, as far as other things that people could do, if you have a craft thing that you like to do, like I know those
Paracord
paracord,
bracelet.
thank you. I was
Yeah,
drawing a blank.
I can know you.
Paracord bracelets. You know, those are useful for military folks to have. In fact, that's where it originated. If you're looking for a craft to do with older kids, I know the instructions are online. You could be making some paracord bracelets and we'll throw them in boxes. Or another thing that you could do, and I know it seems really a long ways off, but we pack before the holidays. We try to get stuff there we send right before Thanksgiving. If if you had a bunch of felt laying around or something like that and you wanted to make little Christmas stockings, little ones, not big ones, little
Yeah,
ones, we throw those in. Or little felt Christmas tree or something like that. I am sure that somebody would, because it's a touch of home.
right, right.
So there are things like that. We can't put in bulky stuff. Another thing that we do, we talked about veterans. A big thing in October that hopefully will happen is the Central Ohio Stand Down.
Oh,
And
yeah.
our chapter donates scarves and hats. And so, if we've got some knitters out there that want to knit some winter scarves or knit some ski hat kind of things, or people that like to do the fleece scarves,
Mm-hmm.
um, we would certainly take those and get them to the stand down.
Okay.
So that's that. There's all kinds of opportunities. I already made our chapter made about 50 scarves in January, not knowing this was happening, but we had a bunch of scraps left over. So I took all those scraps and I made a dozen hats out of them or last week. So there are things that like that you could do too. Or you might have an idea of something I haven't thought of, and I have no problem with somebody sending me an email and saying, "Hey, what about?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know everything. Um, so yeah,
Diana, this has been absolutely amazing. Not only for people to get to know, that we exist in case there are moms or family members and loved ones in the community that would like to support or have community around them while they have a loved one who is in the military or maybe, as you mentioned, discharged. But just good to know that we exist and that we're out there and that there is a home for them to come and be with others. But additionally, knowing what help is needed. So just to recap, we need letters, we need cards, we need masks, we need travel shampoos, we need comics, scarves, hats, anything
sure.
else.
And I want to encourage anybody that maybe has a business. In April, Silverbridge Coffee was
Oh,
supposed to. They were going to give us enough coffee to put a pound in every box.
whoa.
Then they do this. They've been very generous with us. They're very military friendly. Well, obviously we're not shipping, and of course, coffee has a expiration date. So they contacted me because I contacted them and said, "You, we're not going to be able to ship your coffee. We don't know when. So I'm giving you the heads up. This is our next planned date, but." And so they said, "Well, do you know of?" We brainstormed a little bit, and so we do have Ohio National Guardsmen deployed within the state.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, I will contact my person that I go through at the Ohio National Guard and see if they want your coffee so that the guardsmen would have
Yeah.
coffee. And of course, they were thrilled. So I put them together. I don't know what they worked out. It's quite possible that the guardsmen may be getting salted caramel coffee because it's a lot of different kinds of gourmet coffees. But that's something that a local business did. So, if you think of those National Guardsmen and you're in a situation like Silverbridge was, and I can't praise them enough
Yeah.
because they made the offer. Where maybe something like that provided, email me and I'll contact my person and see if it's anything they're interested in.
Perfect. So yeah, absolutely. So again, it's a local and it's a now.
Right.
Beautiful. Diane, is there anything that we didn't mention or discuss that people you'd like them to know about needs or our local Buckeye military moms? Anything? I know that we don't know what's coming up as far as parades and
Well, yeah, we sure don't. We will have packings, so look for us on that.
okay.
We are, trying to figure out what we're going to do with this honor cord thing. So stay tuned. You can always go to our website. Um, but we also do a series of fundraisers. Like we're usually at Quaker Steak bike nights occasionally, and we're selling stuff because when we send a box, even if everything in the box is donated, which it many times isn't, we still have to pay postage to get that box via the mail service to a military depot on the East Coast or the West Coast. And that averages about $10 a box. So just these 400 boxes that we were talking about doing, that's $4,000. So, we always need money, but we always need stuff to put in them. So people could think to the future of maybe if they could do a collection and things like that. So we've got those, but we do a lot of other things, with stand down and stuff. So if somebody's got an idea, how they could help, um, if they can, that's the key thing. And the key thing, if there are any moms out there that are not a member of Blue Star Moms and they want a community of women who get it, they understand that your kid being in the military isn't like going off to college. Um, I think it's a wonderfully supportive organization. And even you don't have to do everything. You do what you can, you know, and you do what you're interested in. We have enough stuff going that there are things that um, you can find a niche. You can do everything if you want to. That's cool. I love that. Okay. But so we're going to have some fundraisers coming up where we're going to be selling our things. I'm hoping maybe Worthington Market Day doesn't get canceled in the
Right.
fall because we'll probably have a booth there. We're scheduled for Hilliard Fest. Again, have a booth and we'll be selling our t-shirts and all kinds of homemade. There are at least 60 because I did them. 60 beaded bracelets to sell and some other stuff. We've got cookbooks with our recipes in them, all kinds of things, so that we're having that. And then we were talking about doing a cookout in June. I'm not holding out a whole lot of, but we may
Right.
reschedule that for a little later. And we were supposed to do a big trash to treasures kind of yard
Yeah. Garage sale.
sale on May 16th, and that's definitely got to move. It'll probably be in the fall, so there will be things to watch for.
So people need to get out there and check out that website. Sounds like, and keep an eye on it occasionally.
Or
Perfect.
if they want to, they can email me and be asked to put on our mailing list.
Oh, perfect. Even better. So email this email right here below.
And say, put me on your mailing list.
Perfect.
We
Okay.
promise we don't send out tons to the general mailing list, just sort of periodically when things are coming up.
Well, Diane, I have to tell you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know I joined Blue Star Moms when my son was going to boot camp. I have had months and years where I've been there all the time, and then more of late where life's crazy and I'm not. But I do pop in and out. And like you said, there's a place for people no matter how much they can or cannot give. They're still welcomed. And I thank you for that.
And if somebody does want to join,
yeah,
they can go to bluestarmothers.us to join. Or no,
okay.
Blue Star Mothers. Oh shoot! Just have them email me, and I'll send them a link. So if they're interested, and even if they just want to be an associate, they can.
And when we get back to a normal world, you do have monthly meetings in Worthington that people can attend. But again, sign up for the email to find out more about it. And I want to make sure to say thank you not only to my son, thank you, Jake, for your service, but thank you to your child and to all of my sister moms, to their children for their service.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And Diana, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Anybody has any questions out there, send an email to the email below. Check out the website. Again, I'm Chrissy with Remax Achievers. If you have any questions about real estate, give me a call. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.